Good evening, this is VSB News. As predicted by VSB News, the government is now having second thoughts about allowing the residents of Ebola-affected countries to visit Bermuda, even if they are pre-vetted by the UK, US and Canadian airport authorities. Possibly with November's Black Mayors Conference in mind, the Ministries and Home Affairs and Health said this evening that they were of the opinion that it might be prudent to increase local procedures to protect public health. Draft formal guidelines are in the process of being drafted, and a further announcement will be forthcoming. The organizers of the world's Black Mayors Conference have already said that mayors from a number of major African cities are expected to be among the delegates. The One Bermuda Alliance has turned to a well-known female lawyer making her first appearance on the political scene to represent them in the November 18th by-election in Sands South. Georgia Marshall, who lives with her husband Tim on Somerset Road inside the constituency, is head of the matrimonial department of the law firm Marshall, Deal and Myers. VSB News' Brian Darby was on hand when she announced her acceptance.
Some of you may know me as a matrimonial attorney because I've practiced matrimonial law in Bermuda now for some 28 years. And throughout the time that I have practiced matrimonial law, I have heard the struggles of families, more so in the recent past than any time before that. And I have worked hard to solve the problems facing families in crisis, oftentimes in what is extremely emotionally fraught circumstances. Now that I have raised my own children, I hope to be able to put those skills that I have honed over the last 28 years to help move Bermuda forward in its road to recovery. I am a newcomer to politics. I have not previously had any affiliation with any party or party politics. But I have always had and continue to have the utmost respect for democratic principles and most importantly for the value of a single vote when it is exercised wisely. I spoke with my vote and helped usher in change in 1998, and I did so again in 2012. In this by-election, I'm asking you, the people of Sands South, to exercise your vote wisely and to usher in change to Sands South and a breath of fresh air to constituency 33.
The OBA candidate was asked what had driven her at this time to throw in her lot with the OBA.
I am invested in Bermuda. I'm invested in Sands. I want there to be a future for my children and for their children. And you know, as I said earlier, I have never before been politically motivated, but I see the challenges facing this country, and I think more people like me who have honed skills over the course of many years need to be not only influencing policy, but voicing the concerns of the constituents. And I hope to be able to do that. It was amazing to me to see over the past 2 weeks how good people all pulling together in the same direction could overcome great adversity. That is where Bermuda is. And we need everyone to pull together to overcome the adversity that we are in now. And we are at a crossroads.
Premier Michael Dunkley was asked why his party favoured a political newcomer instead of looking to the Senate.
If we are going to continue to move forward in the recovery, and I believe clearly that we've started to make some strong steps in recovery, we need people grounded in the constituencies to work for the people. One of the things that has greatly disappointed me in my time in politics, not pointing any fingers anywhere, is there are too many MPs that are disconnected from their constituency. One of the things we've tried to build in the One Bermuda Alliance is have MPs connected to their constituency, such as Nandy Outerbridge, such as Glenn Smith. The list goes on and on and on. That's how you make the best decisions. That's how you understand what people feel, what their concerns are, what needs to be done.
Brian Darby reporting for VSB News.
Shadow Tourism Minister Zane De Silva today called on Tourism Minister Sean Cockwell to make sure he gets the new Club Med development scheme right. He said the government's recent announcement that the scheme would be delayed raises more questions about the state of the site.
How do we get it right? I think that it must be revealed that there is a letter of intent that has been signed, or at least a legal document that has been signed, committing both parties to this development with clear timelines. We also need it revealed whether financing is in place. You might recall earlier this year, Minister Crockwell said in the House of Assembly that he and his cabinet were satisfied with the financing information that they had received to date. Does the developer still want a casino? If so, what's the OBA's plan? The bid process for this project, in my view, was wrong from the start. We understand that between 12 and 20 RFPs were put out. Out of those, 5 responses were received. Of those 5 submissions, they didn't even physically interview all 5. I'm not even sure if they interviewed any physically. That's not good, it's poor, and it's unacceptable. In these times, when Bermuda is struggling, our people are struggling to work, we have 5 reputable companies that's made submissions to build a hotel in Bermuda, and we don't even physically interview all 5. I think that's an injustice to the people and to the country. For the minister to say that he's given a 60-day extension after 9 months in this world of development, I think it's a joke. We have to be seen, Bermuda has to be seen to be more professional than this. If an agreement is reached in the next 60 days, and that's a big if, it's going to take months to create plans, to develop plans, and to get them through the planning process. And I think everyone in Bermuda is familiar with our planning process. Where is the developer? Why is this group so mysterious? You can't find them on the internet. We can't get a hold of anyone. We haven't seen them. You, the media, haven't seen them. Where are they? Shouldn't they be in Bermuda to at least let the people of Bermuda know that they are the developers that have been chosen? Shouldn't they be talking to you, the media, and be asked questions and giving answers to those questions? Inquiring minds want to know.
Insurance adjusters have been fanning out across the island since the day after Tropical Storm Faye did its worst. And in the opinion of Damien Pitcher, a claims adjuster for Friesenbrook Meyer, they deserve to be held in the same high regard as the other emergency teams. VSB News' Brian Darby caught up with him climbing down from a damaged roof on Soundview Road in Somerset on behalf of just one of the clients he will visit today.
We've got 2 storms here, not just one. Does that make it a bit more complicated?
You know what, Brian, it does. What happened was, first of all, Bermudians weren't so much prepared for the wake of Faye, and in it we just got Gonzalo. So it does complicate things. We've got to take care of our insureds for Faye, and then we've got to take care of our insureds for Gonzalo. What we're trying to do now is we've managed to see everyone from Faye, and we're trying our best to go out and see every single customer from Gonzalo as well.
Now, when were the first staff from Friesenbrook Meyer out on the street?
Well, we've been here since the day after Faye, and we were, only day we weren't working was the Friday of Gonzalo, so we were back in the office as early as 7:30, making sure that we can tend to our customers.
That's good service.
Absolutely.
Anyone get hurt by both storms?
We got quite a few insureds that sustained damage in the first and then the second, so we've made it a priority to make sure that they're safe. So it's quite important for us, to figure out when the damage was sustained. So we go around, we take our clipboards, we take our measuring tapes, we take our cameras, and we try to get as much information as possible. Because in the long run, all we're trying to do is help the client.
Now, this is windstorm damage mostly. There's no difference between a tropical storm and a hurricane, is there?
Well, it's funny that you say that because, I personally believe that the Faye was as strong as a hurricane, but it's been called a tropical storm. So no difference. They both do damage, and, people have taken losses in both.
What's the oddest thing you've come across?
Oh, gosh. We had an insured who had a pylon come from the front of the building. It flew up over the building and it came down like a torpedo into the back. So we had to rush out there to make sure that they were okay. Luckily they were safe. No one was in that part of the building at the time.
As if it did not have enough to do, the Bermuda Electric Light Company has been plagued by the rumor that it is seriously short of the equipment it needs to put the island's power structures back to normal. VSB News' Brian Darby comes to the utility's rescue.
12 linemen from the Bahamas, Belize and Barbados are scheduled to arrive this evening to lend their expertise to the Belco and overseas linemen already grappling with repairing the damage from Hurricane Gonzalo. A Belco spokesman said the men will be deployed starting tomorrow to work on what they describe as the small jobs across the island. By weekend they will be joined by 5 linemen from the Cayman Islands, who will also work to restore power to small pockets of customers and individual customers. At the same time, Belco is saying there's a rumor circulating that they do not have adequate supplies of materials to do repairs. This, they say, is false. Before the storm struck, Belco already had enough materials on hand, including poles, transformers, cross arms and cutouts. In addition, they say they had materials air freighted in the day before Hurricane Gonzalo. And in addition to that, they had materials delivered already this week by container ship, and more materials are being delivered later in the week. Belco, they say, have sufficient materials to effect the repairs required in the aftermath of both Tropical Storm Faye and Hurricane Gonzalo. Brian Darby reporting for VSB News.
It may seem unfair to even mention the subject at this time, but no one should forget that the hurricane season still has a month to run, and there will be a disturbance stirring in the North Atlantic. For example, Tropical Depression 9 has formed in the Bay of Campeche, near the Yucatan Peninsula, about 1,400 miles southwest of Bermuda, and if it manages to survive its journey across land, it could become a tropical storm with the potential to reach South Florida and the Bahamas next week before entering the North Atlantic. The storm, which will be called Hannah if it strengthens, is not a threat to Bermuda at this time. The Department of Marine and Port Services would like to remind the public that they should remove any boats that broke loose or were wrecked during Tropical Storm Faye and Hurricane Gonzalo to a repair facility or safe location as soon as they can. Marine Services Officer Deborah Moran said, "We sympathize with those whose boats broke loose and were wrecked during these last 2 storms. But as much as we want to give people leeway to attend to their vessels, we can't permit vessels to lie wrecked indefinitely, and there will be a timeline for removal. All vessels still lying wrecked as of November 10th will come under the Bermuda wreck removal process, and boat owners will be liable for all removal costs incurred by the Department of Marine and Port Services under this process." Earl Baisden has more in this sports report.
Despite a delayed start due to a cargo ship arriving in the Hamilton Harbor this morning, the 2014 Argo Group Gold Cup did get underway. Royal Bermuda Yacht Club's Commodore, who last night declared the event open, defeated Keith Swinton. In other Flight 1 results, Great Britain's Ian Williams defeated Dirk Jan Koppersack from the Netherlands. Sweden's Bjorn Hansen defeated fellow countryman Johnny Berntsen, and the final race in Flight 1 saw Pierre-Antoine Morvan from France defeat David Storrs from the United States of America. At 11 p.m. tonight, the Pepsi ICC World Cricket League Division III tournament will get underway in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, with Bermuda taking on their ICC Americas rivals, United States of America. At the captain's meeting earlier today, Bermuda's captain, Gennaro Tucker, is quoted as saying, "I think it's a different scenario this time. When you look at both teams, the USA and us, we've got a nucleus of different players, but we are still going to play hard. We'll still go ahead and prepare as usual, and hopefully we come out on top with the right result," end quote. Meanwhile, Coach Alan Douglas believes it's important to get a good start to the tournament as rain is forecasted throughout.
The meeting today, they were talking about, the possibility of rain, West Lunas. What if we got 2 extra days for rain out days, and the final day, if it's need be, we can play matches. So they're anticipating a lot of rain, but we can't. I'm not God, so I can't check the water. So we have to take each game as it comes, and I think the guys are in pretty good spirit. They're backing themselves, and I think they'll be all right. I think the youngsters feel good, and they're not got no pressure. The youngsters don't have pressure. They have to play their natural game and express themselves.
CC Women continue competing in the Laser South American Championships in Peru. A total of 8 races have been sailed in the regatta. At the end of day 3, Woman found herself down 1 spot from her starting 30th place to 31st overall. 4 races were sailed on the day, with Woman recording her best finish of the regatta with an 11th place finish in the day's first race. She then recorded finishes of 32nd, 28th, and 31st. She ended with 177 overall points. The 2014 Trey Swan Memorial Junior Tennis Open tournament resumed at the W.E.R. Joe Tennis Stadium yesterday afternoon. Following Tropical Storm Faye and Hurricane Gonzalo, organizers got the tournament up and running yet again. The first match on the court was the boys 16 quarterfinal match between number 1 seed Luke Sterling and Evan Halliger. Sterling won in straight sets, 6-love, 6-2. Daniel Phillips won his boys' 12 singles semifinal match over Connor O'Keefe in straight sets, 6-1, 6-1. And Imani Phillips won her girls' 12 singles match in straight sets, 6-2, 6-1 over Alexi Burrows. The Bermuda Football Association has announced the following changes to the schedule. The Dudley Eve semifinal is scheduled to take place tomorrow evening at the Devonshire Recreation Club with a 7 p.m. kickoff for Somerset Trojans against Flanagan's Onions, and then at 9 p.m. it's the Dennytown Hornets and the North Village Rams. The first division match between Island Rangers and Somerset Eagles will not be played tonight. The first division and Premier Division matches scheduled for Friday, October 24th have been moved to Monday, October 27th at the Devonshire Recreation Club. Wolves and Paget will take to the pitch for the 7 p.m. First Division kickoff, and then at 9 p.m. in the Premier Division, the Devonshire Cougars will host the Dennytown Hornets. After 2 rounds of the Bermuda National Athletics Association 2014 cross-country season, we can now take a look at leaders in divisions. Rosanna Hoy and Natalie Durley lead the Women's Open Division with 10 points. Chase Smith is the current leader in the Men's Open Division with 20 points. Shefton Hall is in second with 12 points. The Men's Masters Division leader is Jay Donawa with 20 points, while Omari Hart is in second with 12 points. Dion Berry leads the Women's Masters Division with 20 points, while Victoria Fiddick is in second with 16 points. Mateo Donawa and David Darrow are the joint leaders in the boys under-17 division with 10 points each, while Messiah Greaves leads the under-17 girls division with 16 points. Zakiah Showers is in second with 10 points. Jaden Ming leads the boys under-14 division with 20 points, with Ryan Otterbridge in second with 16 points. Kayla Raymond and Jessie Marshall are the joint leaders in the girls 14 division with 18 points apiece. I'm Earl Baston reporting for VSB Sports.
And that's VSB News for Wednesday, October 22nd. I'm Peter Cattell.